Hi, glad you found me. Glad you stopped by. I'm digging, and this is the vibe. So, this evening, I want to talk about Archons, and eventually, you'll see how everything that I've been making videos about all come together. And then, consciously, hopefully, we'll just take all one big giant step forward because I know that I uh, I know that it'll happen. That's a fact. Okay, now, like I said, these videos, though, and some will sound like, but they're way out there. But I really want to talk about this. I really want to talk about archons, and I really want to talk about the abyss. And I want to talk about the knowledge and understanding I have pertaining to information that um, are written in books that uh, were put together and called a Bible, a Quran, a oh my goodness, we can go on, right? Um, there's record of good news put that together because there is, even though some might have changed the word here and there and taken some stuff out, and then even if they were working on it karmically, they would have to leave enough of it in there because then even they worry about whether, well, they know there's going to be ramifications. They're banking on grace, and that's a whole other video or two. Grace. So the archons. Now, we all imagine what what hell would be. And in one of my experiences, I don't remember who he was. Oh, I'm really sorry I don't. Um, but I remember the experience all right because I wanted out of there. I couldn't breathe. I don't think I have ever felt fear quite like that feeling. Like, ever, ever, ever. Like every single living, breathing, everything about me was scared, frightened. Like I don't want to be here and I don't ever want to come back. Even if that's what it feels like, I don't ever want to experience that again. And what I had asked if, well, two things. One, I asked about, well, three, I guess. One, I asked about insanity. Another time, I asked about schizophrenia. And, just like all the regular questions I think other people might ask. I asked about hell. And, well, uh, to one of these, the answer was given to me by experience. And that was in my mind, I went to a dark place. And it got darker and it got darker and it got darker to a point where I realized myself, I couldn't pull, I had a fear of not being able to pull myself out of there. And it was so dark. I mean, I can't even begin. It wasn't just not like your visual is dark. I could not breathe. I was so freaked out, like freaked out. Okay, not much scares me, freaked me right out. that I was begging, begging, like scratching, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. And I obviously wasn't too happy about that. And I asked, what was that? And I had been told that these places are in your mind. There are houses or pockets. And I guess that's what they say about breaking, the psyche into different pockets or rooms or whichever, different levels of the brain and different levels of understanding and different levels of perception, therefore different levels of experience. And I just went, whoa, okay. So we're talking, it happens in two. The outside world and the experience, we can experience it internally. In the inside world, we can experience it as just as well. And it would be, wow. Well, not would be, it is, because it is what it is, right? I mean, not it would be. Correction, it is. Uh, Music of the city. Did you hear that? I heard that. Okay, so um, at that, that darkness, and that was imprinted in my soul. That experience was imprinted in my soul, and I understood. I didn't care how corny it was that I was who I am. I don't, if I can help it, which I know that through our conscious decisions we create who we are. It's kind of like creating your own destiny, your spiritual destiny, understanding the laws that should be applied. And these laws are not man-made laws, but laws that are engraved in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls. It's part of our creation. They can't take that away. So I looked at it from all different angles after, from that experience. I did. I looked at it all from different angles. And then I started thinking one day, it was something about CERN. I can't remember exactly what it was. Um, oh, right. It was finding the key to the abyss. And finding the key to the abyss, when I would think the average individual heard that, they would be, yeah, okay, there is association, but there's also disassociation happening simultaneously at the same time. What could you change, and how many of a percentage of human beings, are on the same channel? Be interesting to take a poll. Might have to happen one day. Now, I see this looking at our space and Earth and our system. There is an area that you just don't go. It's completely life free. And it's the way that it is, it's almost like the way that they showed me. It's like an idea. And you get in around that dimension, in around that realm. That realm. And what the idea is how deep do you have to go into this realm in order to find that door so you could open it, because you know that door exists. And most all that venture into that dark abyss are ever, rarely ever heard of again. It could not sustain life. Now, you know, some people have a hard head. I'm going to say that. Some people, you know, they like to push that envelope because of the amount of success that they have. They recognize it. It's a good thing not to abuse it. But in this case here, I don't think abused it would be the proper way to describe. Um, you know, he felt invincible and took that for granted because he did conquer quite a great deal, and you know, laid out their presence in the solar, you know, the solar systems of creation. We'll say that. And the one that I'm going to mention, because he's the one that they said lost his mind, and that is one of the three. His name is Enki, and he would be the older brother. They, you know, and when I heard this, them saying that he went mad, it got my attention. I perked right up, because it was something I knew that, I mean, I didn't talk about it, let alone share. You know, and I thought, hey, this is really good to hear. I'm really happy. You know, it's kind of a relief, and I mean, sad that this happened. And the reason, I guess I'm speaking about it nonchalantly because in the bigger picture, I saw healing. Healing was going to happen. And the Archons, once and for all, were going to be got. And they were going to be brought back to where they came from. And that'd be that. You know, close that door again, but this time, you know, completely destroy the key. So it could never be either replaced, remade, found, and or utilized, because its vibration does not sustain life the way that we know it, creation the way that we experience it, the way that we know it. It is a very dense part of a bigger system, and it doesn't matter what planet you are, it doesn't matter what being you are, being aka alien you are, it is understood by all. It does not sustain life. So in other words, everybody adopts the process that, you know, that dense space is the even, you know, the yin and the yang, where the light, it's that area is the darkness. Now, the Archons, because they were laying out the skies, and they were conquering, they were expanding their kingdom, as like I said, as part of one not creator, but one of creators. So I'm going to say that there was somehow, why was there a competition for that? That's just insane. You know, yeah. Anyway, so on that particular note, he wanted to make it after Earth had been settled and so on, and everything was functioning. Everybody, took control again, and reseeded again and replanted again, and there was harmony, and everything was sustainable growth, all of that. So him and his crew went out to conquer. And because of this war that I had mentioned every once in a while here, because there's still a few that are far out enough that they still think it's going on, wanting to somehow, challenge a part of it, refusing to understand that he could be influenced in any way because of his spirit, because of how he was made up of. And I'm talking Enki. And so, despite being advised, despite everybody's best advice to him, even concerns pertaining from the crew beneath him that said, hey, we're worried. This is not something we want to do. We've got families, we have loved ones, and really that's how it was. That's what was said. And, well, just wouldn't have it. They were going to go do it, just this one, and then they'll come back, and he gave his word. Now, if he gave his word was his word. He was good for his word. So they all buckled up, and they all went with their prince, and they all went to conquer. Now, like I said, there was many warnings. I mean, many warnings, and we're talking from the heart and from the mind, not just the intellect or the militant. Um, and so there was a great deal to consider, but like I said, but yet, now, despite what anybody said, they went in. And when they went in, they, went through the first dimension, I might say, and everything was okay. And then they went deeper, and they went second and third dimension, and then there was laughter because we're still okay. Then it was 4, 5, 6, and that was out now. You see, I told you. There's nothing wrong. Yada 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 yada. It had everything to do with not recognizing. It had everything to do with not recognizing or acknowledging. That by the time it hit 9, there was delusion. Now, in the process of 6, 7, 8, there there somehow was sent warning um, that they were now stuck in this darkness and could not see enough light to get back. They were lost. They were in the dark. Um, Unbeknownst to my knowledge, all I remember was that there was shone enough light that through the depths of, they managed to pull him out and to pull him out of there, and to pull him into the light, into their existence, their time frame. And having done so, they recognized that he went somehow mad. and there was such a huge inner conflict within himself. There was this battle that his whole perception of what was what, who was who, why was why, and could see nothing other. So when it came to 10, there was that understanding that, wait a second. And the reason there was this aha moment of, wait a second, is because they spread. Like a virus, they spread. And bringing them out of that dark, dense place of nothingness, they brought back the energy that nothingness has, and it brought into any amount of light, it comes to life. So this matter is so dark that just slightly rubbed could spark into light. It could combust into light. And this pretty much is what happened. How Enki became and to lose his whereabouts, his psychological and emotional and everything about him. They were so subtle, and nobody at that point they had to search before they figured it out, before they figured out the existence of the Archons. They went through multiple of different tests and examinations. Now, by the time they figured it out, because they didn't let it go, and the way it was shown to me was it was his parents that were reluctant to let go, and because they were king and queen, they wanted them to find out why their son went mad and to bring him back. They believed that science could find this answer. And that is how science came across creation out of dark nothingness. The moment that it is slightly exposed to light, it ignites an actual energy. That's because it just doesn't go boom, dead, gone. Doesn't do that. That's pretty interesting, right? I know. Okay, so I'm going to cut this short. I think I'll make part 2. And so for now, I bid you an adieu. Think about that. Think about that for a couple of seconds before you find the second half. Think about it. That's what really happened. That's a fact, Jack. And I know, like I say, I know it's out there. The answer's out there. It's out there. I'll guarantee it. Hit like, share, and if you think I have anything to say that might interest you, don't forget to subscribe. Ciao, amore. Ciao, ciao.